Hello, I'm Sean, and this is Carl, and we are 2/5 of gbhbl.com. Today, we are going to see It, the feature film. And we thought we'd do a little bit of an introduction to how we feel about it before we go, and then we'll review it afterwards.
Yes, this is like an hour and a half away from seeing it.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel?
How do I feel?
Excited?
Yes and no. Like, I'm interested.
Yeah.
I am interested. We've talked about this beforehand about how, unlike a lot of opinions, this is a deserved. I'm not seeing this as a remake. What was it a remake of? We had a mini-series of a book adaptation, a very lengthy mini-series. There hasn't been a film version of this. This isn't a remake. It's just a re-adaptation of the book.
Yeah, quite often when you get something that's a bit like remakey or re-adaptation, I could be a bit nervous about it and think, like, why did we bother? But if anything deserves a remake, this does. The mini-series, whilst a lot of people, I think, remember it through rose-tinted glasses, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. Yeah. I mean, Tim Curry was great. He had the perfect mix of charismatic and menacing when he's Pennywise, but other than that, I don't think it was particularly good. I
100% agree. We've felt privately about it. It's just kind of like these rose-tinted glasses of that particular series makes me laugh, and a lot of it is, do you actually like the mini-series, or do you just like Tim Curry's portrayal of Pennywise?
I think that's what it is. That's what people remember when we talk about it. It's his character, his way of doing it was really good. Yeah,
but even still, there were some over-the-top moments. I struggle a lot with the more over-the-top adult comedic moments on a TV series. Yeah. Wah-ha, 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 wah-ha. All right, that's a bit much. Yeah. But I always use these examples of people say, "Oh, your TV series was great." All right, do you remember that bit with Seth Green and the werewolf in the basement? That was crap. What about the bit with the mummy and the books and saying birds out loud and that made the mummy stop? What was that about? Also, let's not forget the ending.
Oh, the ending. The ending was
giant terrible. Space spider!
But were you a fan of the book?
Here's the thing. No, I'm not really. I think the book's good, but like a lot of Stephen King work, fuck is it overly long.
Oh, it's long. He goes into immense detail about everything. I'm actually a fan of the book. I read it when I was a teenager and I really liked it. And I probably watched the miniseries around about that same age.
Oh, see, I didn't read the book until maybe 5-6 years ago.
Oh, really?
So when I read the book, I remember being like, my natural presumption was this was going to be very similar to the miniseries. The miniseries was to be a faithful adaptation. Obviously, it's not. I mean, as soon as I always remember the point where I sort of, not turned off it, but was like, okay, was just like, oh, they're having an orgy. 12-year-olds.
In the book?
Yeah.
Really, really disturbing, unnecessary part of that book. I never understood why it was in there.
I presume that's not in the this 2017 adaptation.
I don't think it's going to be. These kids are like 12 years old.
Of course it's not going to be fucking in it.
Fucking weird.
It's got a 15 age rating in this country. There's no way we're going to watch a load of kids fucking.
Thank God.
I'm pretty sure that's XXX material if they're all fucking.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that illegal?
Yeah, of course it's illegal.
Right.
Kids.
All right. Yeah,
if I have to tell you.
So we're not fans, right? So you're a fan of the book, I'm not a fan of the book. We're both iffy about the miniseries, certainly seeing how people see it in rose-tinted glasses. So for me, this really can't fail, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's something that deserved a modern update. I'm a little bit, I haven't really read much about it. I've tried to stay away.
Right.
Because I don't want things spoiled. I'm a little bit dubious.
I've got to jump in there. Okay, that's not the first time I've heard this argument. Don't want things spoiled. What is being spoiled for you? It is an adaptation of a book you know well. There's nothing to be spoiled.
Well, there is. The style in which they do it.
What do you mean the style? You've seen pictures. That's the style you know.
I'm talking about, we were talking before about how it might be full of jump scares and stuff like that.
It is full of jump scares.
I wouldn't have known that had you not told me.
Yeah, but that's what I heard. And unfortunately, it's very, very hard, particularly when you review movies all the time, to not stumble across something, be it a headline or something like that, While I haven't gone out my way to read reviews, I have read comments and people's thoughts, and basically, it's either going to be the best movie ever made, which to me is just, come on people, calm down. I presume that's just your modern horror audience is getting overexcited about seeing something horror in the main screen. It isn't Paranormal Activity or Saw or that or it's going to be the worst thing ever, and it's not touch upon Tim Curry's performance, So I am hopeful, but I'm a hater of jump scares. Not in the sense that they can't be used. Use them and use them sparingly and use them well. But when it's all you've got, if that's the best you can do for your horror, is make people jump, it's not scary. Jump scares aren't fucking scary.
No, they're fleeting. No,
Well, yeah.
They don't leave any impact.
You don't remember it. And if you're not talking about it afterwards or later or days or weeks afterwards, then you kind of you've missed the fucking point. But I think it should be good fun. 138 minutes long though.
Wow.
I know, right?
Oh, didn't know that. That's long.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
But this will be bookended with the rest of the we'll talk about it afterwards. And you know, I look relaxed at the moment, but you'll see how tense I am afterwards if I fucking get mad over it. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's do this.
You'll flow too. You'll flow too. You'll flow too. You'll flow too.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're back from watching it.
2017.
2017. Yes. The feature.
Yep.
film.
Seen it. Just fresh out of it an hour ago. Got back here and it was like, all right, let's talk about it. Try not to fucking talk about it in the drive back here.
Trying not to talk about it on the way back was very difficult.
Yeah, because vastly lots of things to say, really. Well, I guess start off with the obvious. Did you enjoy it?
I did.
Yeah, so did I. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Better than you expected?
It was slightly better than I expected. There was good and bad.
I'm going to go as far to say, no, actually the opposite. Worse than I expected. I didn't expect... I expected better, but that's not like saying, oh, that means it's like a letdown. Because I didn't have expectations in that sense. The way it was being talked about.
Right.
And you can say, well, it's hype and hype and hype and hype and so on. I kind of thought, well, the biggest thing... For fuck's sake. The biggest thing, I guess we'll take away from it, is what I expected and totally didn't get. Was it's not scary.
It's not scary
in the
at
slightest.
All. No, I kept waiting for the sense of dread that I was expecting in it because it is a dark subject. It's a child killer.
Yep.
That hunts them through fear. But there was never that. There was never a point where I was like, nothing. Obviously, and I'm not just talking about jump scares, but just the whole tone of it wasn't scary.
Yeah. No. That's. I didn't find it. I'm trying to think of like a moment where I was like, okay, maybe that was a bit of a build and stuff like that, and it really wasn't because everything led to the same sort of thing, which would inevitably be some form of jump scare. Some of it I thought was bad. Right, so obviously, we should have said this at the start, we'll say it now. This is going to be spoiler heavy.
Yes.
We're talking about the movie, we're going to talk about specific scenes, we're going to talk about specific specific plot points. So, we're not going to go through the It story. If you don't know it, go check it out. Most people watching this, there's a high chance you at least know the basic story from the story, miniseries or the book. This is fairly true to the book.
For the most part.
Yeah, I mean, of course, obviously, it's an adaptation, so you got to take liberties and stuff like that, and some of the stuff is left out, of course, but for, I'd say it's more true than the miniseries.
Yeah, much closer to it.
Much closer. Yeah. But not that I particularly care about that, because there's the thing, right? You hear a lot of positiveness about that. Oh, it's more true to the book. Who cares? Ultimately, it's a movie. It's a horror movie that has to entertain regardless.
Yeah, well, I mean, with
I'm not looking for a fucking play-by-play of the book. If I want to see the book, I'll read the fucking book. I want to watch a movie that entertains. And I think it does entertain for the most part.
For the most part.
Yeah. So, let's talk then. Let's do the elephant in the room. Okay. Let's talk about Pennywise. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the clown. What's the actor's name?
In this?
Yeah, who plays Pennywise?
I don't know.
Oh, goddamn, I've forgotten his name. But, yeah, I've forgotten his name. It's annoying. But, yeah, so his version of Pennywise... obviously very, very different to Tim Curry's Pennywise, rightfully so as well. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't have been an attempt to redo it and stuff like that. No. What did you think of him? He
was not as charismatic, I thought.
Okay, yeah, that was yeah, that's true.
As Tim Curry's version.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of CGI going on with his face.
Let's touch that on later. We'll touch on CGI later. Just his performance, not
it was okay. I didn't get a lot of menace from him. There was a lot of every time they confronted him, it always happened the same way. His thing seemed to be just sort of looming over them a little bit. Didn't really work for me. It wasn't bad. It could have been a lot worse. I thought his voice was alright.
Oh, see, I didn't like his voice.
You didn't like the laugh, though.
Oh, yeah, no, really didn't like the laugh.
Really like the laugh, but the voice was okay.
See...
His eyes annoyed me.
Why?
Looking off in different directions.
Okay.
It was annoying.
Alright, well...
Focus!
I actually liked him. Mostly throughout. I thought it was an interesting way to do it. I have a few issues with it, mainly due to the... Okay, he's too menacing in the end. Like, there was, at the beginning, the bit with Georgie in the drain, I turned to you and I said, no kid's going near this fucking clown. Even the way he speaks, even while laughing, his voice and sinister and behaviour and stuff, and he's kind of joking with Georgie about being blown away in the circus. I'm like, no, he looks too...
Well, like you said, he's drooling.
Yeah, yeah.
He's drooling, he looks hungry.
Yeah, although I've got to say, I really liked his drooling,
I
hungry look. I thought it added quite a lot to it. But there were so many silly parts with him that just didn't really work. Not silly in the way of, like, comedy, but just like it was supposed to be scary. I'm going to stick one more. I was the only one...
Sorry.
You? I was the only one in the cinema, not that there was loads of people in there, who laughed at this. I don't know if I was on to a woman sitting a couple of seats across us looked at me when I did. But it was like, because it was funny. And it's, if you know it's the bit in the basement where dead Georgie starts screaming at Bill, we all felt that, which I thought was cool. And then Pennywise comes out of the water. And initially it's cool because he's kind of repeating what he's saying.
Yeah.
And then he just... runs
right.
and I'm just like, and it was in the trailer, so you probably know what I'm talking about. I just went, for fuck's sake.
That's how I run.
That was so stupid.
Yeah, it was pretty stupid.
It was so stupid. But that sort of stuff aside, I liked a lot of these sort of silly mannerisms, like when he was sort of building himself out at the end.
Yeah.
And the arms and things like that. I thought it looked kind of cool.
He moves like a marionette.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah,
like
marionette,
the whole
yeah.
thing has that kind of marionette vibe to him where it's not anywhere close to human movement.
Yeah, like he is struggling to continue that human shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was pretty cool. But a lot of the time, him just talking and stuff and the teasing didn't really work for me. Like, we'll go into the bit in the house where he's got... which kid is it? The one suffering from all the stuff. Eddie. And he's kind of teasing him. I want to bite your hand and stuff like that. And I didn't like that. I thought it was kind of stupid. But then it switches where... Upstairs, the other two boys stop being afraid briefly, and it seems to affect him. And his music plays, and he's like, like as if to say,
Yeah.
And they come downstairs, and he turns to, God, why can I not remember names? Bill, starting Bill. And just him like, am I real enough for you? Is this real enough for you? And I was like, that's fucking wicked. Like, I like that. That was good.
Yeah, because that was properly tormenting them.
Yeah, like that was nasty because he was like, oh, it's real enough for Georgie and things like that. And it was like, oh yeah, that's nasty as fuck, you know. But then. The other stuff where, like, I guess it's the more cartoonish stuff, such as, well, if you've seen the trailer, you'll know the bit with the picture flipping. Yeah. Which is a really cool and well done scene, except it's not got as much impact in the movie because we'd seen it in the trailer. Yeah. But what it ended up leads to, when this show I was excited about, because it's like, oh, cool, he's frozen on screen, he's going to start moving or something. He doesn't. He's coming out like a giant... toothy dog.
I laughed.
And he's like, rah, rah, and it's just like, oh, okay, that's a bit of a, But I guess that'll bring us on to the most negative thing about the movie, which is the CGI. We only mentioned a bit.
I don't know about budgets or anything for this film, but there is so much better CGI out there in this day and age. To see CGI that is comparable to Sci-Fi Channel in some points, isn't really acceptable in a proper film. This
has had a lot of backing. This would have had the budget. I couldn't believe. So, I mean, within the first 5 minutes, you get to see this poor CGI when he effectively bites off Georgie's arm. It annoys the fuck out of me because it's like a case of 2 points because you see this horrible CGI teeth clamp onto Georgie's arms, and I think it looks awful. Think it's awful. Oh, it's just CGI, accept what it is. No. Because I hate to do this, but the miniseries didn't use CGI for those teeth. No. So why is this fucking 2017 doing bad CGI for it?
It would have been a lot better if it had been like, like body horror style.
Yeah, so many times it's like that could have been a practical effect. Yeah. Had you taken the time, that could have been a practical effect.
Practical effects would have worked a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Not all. Fair enough. There are some things in it that couldn't have worked about, and I accept that. But then why does the CGI look so cheap? Like,
that's the confusing bit.
Jump to the end point. They're floating people. They didn't even look like people. because they're so far away as well, they've obviously decided we haven't got to put much work into this.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's in your face.
Yeah.
What did you think about that particular scene? Oh, look, people do actually float.
I was a little bit confused. So I was trying to remember the book, actually. If that happens in the book. I don't remember the whole...
No, I don't either.
I think that was the thing they added. And there was this horrible moment where I thought, oh, those kids are going to be alive.
Oh, I thought that too. Well, it didn't. I don't think that was the case, of
No,
course.
I mean, you didn't see that, but I thought that when they started to drop down slowly, I was like, they're going to be alive and it's going to be a happy ending. It's going to really piss me off because it shouldn't be like that. It didn't look particularly good.
No.
At first, I quite liked the whole... You know, like, his layer is a stack of all of the kids'
trinkets, I guess, yeah.
toys and clothes and shoes and stuff like that. And you realise how long he's been doing this for because it is this huge tower of stuff that he's collected from his victims. Yeah. And you're like, that is quite chilling because you realise how long he's been killing children. And then, yeah, you see this crappy CGI floating body thing.
Yep.
Which wasn't, you know, it lost impact. It's a shame.
Yeah. It's a common theme running through it that many scenes that could be good are hurt by this fucking CGI. Like, we talked about the part in the house where he has all of Eddie and they come on the stairs and they start fighting him. And they fuck it up. They ruin what is initially an exciting scene. It's like, okay, they're all together now and they're going to kind of weaken him a bit. And they do, they shove a spike through his face and it becomes CGI. His face becomes CGI, teeth at the side, and it takes me completely out of the scene. It reminds me that I'm watching a fucking movie.
Yeah.
You know? Which
whereas
fucking
with
sucks.
a practical effect, it could have kept you in it more.
Yeah, like, I'll give you some examples of the practical effects. There's a scene where Mike, I'll get to Mike in a minute, but Mike is being held down by Henry and the bullies and trying to, you know, they're bullying him. And he looks over and sees Pennywise watching from beneath the trees with bloody mouth and holding a hand. And he sort of jokingly waves the hand like that. Silly as fuck. But that's not CGI. Looked way better.
It did look
way better.
Yeah,
you know? But yeah, so let's move on then, I guess, to the performances. Because obviously there are adults in this, but this is the performances of the children, the Losers Club and all of them. What did you think?
So yeah, so it is obviously a story of two halves. It's the children's story and the adult story, and this is focusing solely on
the kids
them as children.
Yep.
They were great.
Yeah, they were.
They were really good.
Yeah.
Really good. And I think I quite like the fact that, again, to compare it to, say, the miniseries, they toned down some of the irritating parts of the kids.
Yeah.
So Eddie Kaspbrak, his whole thing is that he's a hypochondriac because of his mother, suffers from his illness, is a total geek. He wasn't as geeky in this. He had something about him. He was a little bit more brave.
It was
and
there.
more believable. So it wasn't so much a caricature of a nerdy kid.
Yeah.
The same with Richie Tozier.
Yeah, less annoying.
Yeah, because he's supposed to be jokey and irritating, and it's like, again, in the miniseries and in the book, it's too much. But in the film, again, they tone it down, make it more believable. It's irritating, but not to the point where you're like, fuck this.
No, there were a few too many jokes. But weird enough, Richie, while I wouldn't say he was my favourite of the characters, he, to me, had the best scene in it. Which is near the end when, so basically near the end, Pennywise has Bill, and he basically trying to make a bargain with them, which I thought was well done as well, because initially he's like, no, I'm going to kill you all kind of thing, and then you see him go, but, and it's because he's worried, and he's like, I'll keep Bill, you all go back to your lives. Yeah. You know what I mean, I'll go back to sleep for 27 years and stuff. And Richie sort of does this whole, like, well, it looks like they might actually be agreeing to it, Richie's like, oh, you know what, Bill, fuck's sake, you did this to me, you hit me, you've done this to me. And I've got to kill this fucking clown, and pulls that baseball out. And I was like, yeah, man, fuck this clown up, you know? That was awesome. And you already said it, the performances are brilliant. They all feel like individual characters, but it's believable, their friendships and how it grows and why it grows, except for two. Two, to me, so Ben, Fat Ben, I never felt like he fully integrated into that group in the same way.
No, I think because the film was quite long. That's a lot of story to cram into 2 hours 20 minutes. It's a lot of story to cram in. So some of that evolution of the friendship that you would get if you were reading a book or something like that, you don't really get it. He just sort of plonked in and they're just like, okay, bud, come on, you're one of us now. Yeah. So you do lose a little bit of that bonding with them.
It felt like he was there for story explanation because he was the one who investigated and found out the history and stuff like that. Oh, actually, you know what? I can talk about not necessarily chilling, but a moment where I got a little bit interested and thought, oh, this could be leading to a scare. It doesn't. But it's when he's flicking through the book and reading about the disasters, and you kind of realise, you know, and I said to you at the time, I love the idea of this through the ages of it and how it's done and stuff like that. You know, I love that.
Yeah, because he has got this huge backstory in Derry. Did you notice in that scene in the background? Did you see the background in that scene? when he's in the library going for books.
No.
The old lady in the background staring at him like that.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there any particular scenes? That's any particular scene that you thought went that was at least effective or like not necessarily scary, but like that was going.
See, that I liked because it's creepy. Cause in the background, you sort of caught my eye, and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
That
I missed that. I'm really annoyed I missed that. I got two. Mm-hmm. One is now this is a subtle thing, and we noticed it every time a child seems to one of the kids walk in front of a TV. It's playing a specific show. Yeah. This weird show of a woman sitting with kids, and later on you see it in more full on when Henry Bowers watches the TV and it's basically being told to kill, which kind of ruined it.
I didn't like that. I wish they'd just left it in the background because every time, I think it was when Beverly walks into her house and they don't focus on the telly. It's on in the background, and you hear them talking about a clown and floating, and it's just really, really faint. And about ooh, he's
and the woman's
there.
encouraging. And the woman in the host of the show is going, you should go and play in the sewers and things like that.
That's right, and you realise like he already knows who they are. He already has them. He's already there. There's no escaping him.
I really like that.
Before they were even aware of it.
You're right. They then went overkill. Went, oh no, here we're going to make sure you know it because it was Henry Bowers, and we're going to show you how.
He's mad, don't you know?
Yeah. So Henry didn't quite hit the mark for me in this. None of the bullies did, to be fair.
They weren't.
He was too
enough.
He was too psychotic. He went from I'm a bully to I'm psychotic in such a short amount of space.
But again, it didn't have the menace.
No, he had a baby face as well. Yeah. Which didn't help. The mullet looked a bit stupid. The rest of the gang were nobodies, really.
They didn't focus on them at all. I mean, like, it's Victor Chris and Belch Huggins. They were the main three with Henry Bowers. Yeah. And then there's the mate that died, Patrick, something like that. But yeah, in the story, that whole them really going after these kids and some of the nasty things they do was such a horrible. Yeah. Again, it makes your skin crawl because it feels so real.
Yeah.
In a story that's so fantastical, that is one of the scariest parts about it because it feels so real. Whereas this, it wasn't very believable. They did some horrible things, but it just wasn't really.
Did they really though?
Way.
There was a bit back and forth.
Ben up.
That's it. Name me another one.
They kept going after Mike and beating him up. They're pushing his face into the pig meat and stuff.
Yeah, but that's the...
Although they really seem to shy away from the racism in that story.
That it was implied, obviously.
It was implied, but only loosely.
Only loosely.
Because of the way they were attacking everybody, you didn't really get the full-on feeling that's why they were going for Mike.
Oh, that's true. Well, now we're talking about him, Mike. What a waste.
Right, I just about to say that. Well, he was wasted.
I've never seen a character more tacked on purely... And at the start, there's such a blatant metaphor given.
I don't think you can even call it a metaphor because it's so hand-fisted.
Yeah, that's true. And it pretty much says to you, this is going to be the ending, or in some way related to it, which it is, involving Mike fighting Henry when Henry goes crazy. And, Henry's craziness results to him going, bah, bah, what the fuck was that? Oh, I laughed again. Shouldn't be laughing at things like that, but it was pretty bad.
So, again... back to Henry. So what happens to Henry calls into question what is going to happen in the future film with the adults.
Well, I think it's fairly straightforward. Although that didn't look comfortable, I don't think he necessarily died, and I suspect he'll still be. Don't get me wrong. It looked like he got killed, but I think it'll still be he lived, and obviously all the murders got pinned on him because he was obviously crazy at the end. So I still think they'll be able to follow that up because he might have broke his legs.
If they were going to bother having him back, whereas again he's quite an integral part of the future story. So it'd be a shame to lose him.
No, I think they can. I think there's room to manoeuvre there. I think there's definitely room to manoeuvre on that one. It didn't look like he could have survived that. To be fair, it didn't look it.
But then I guess we're in almost like a fantasy magical kind of element.
Yeah,
I guess he could have survived, but yeah. To me, I don't know. It did annoy me a little bit. I thought it was too dramatic, that drop. Yeah. So another particular scene that I think stood out quite well done, although you could argue doing something in it kind of takes you out of it as well, which is Richie, one of his fears is clowns. So later on when you're exploring the house, we'll get to the house in a minute, he ends up locked in a room and with all his clown dolls. And it is pretty fucking cool. Yeah. It does look cool, it's quite effective. He turns around and his response is basically, oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah. And it is... But again, you kind of get taken out of it by there being a picture of Tim Curry's Pennywise on the wall, and in front of the coffin, a clown-sized, medium-sized doll of that Pennywise thing. Yeah. Tribute is cool and all that kind of thing, but I felt like, again, he just reminded me. That didn't bother me so much.
It didn't.
I thought it was a nice nod.
Mm.
For those that knew. I didn't think that was so bad.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. Fair enough. So, as we said, there's lots of things to enjoy, but another particular point that I got to say I really didn't was this house. So this is the house that it lives in, or it leads to the sewers and stuff like that. This house that looks ripped from Tim Burton's fucking library. Yeah. It's Edward Scissorhands style houses. What the hell was that about? Why did we have to? Why did it have to look like that to that extent?
Yeah, I don't know why there was the house at all. Again, you didn't really need it. They could have been down at the standpipe and the Barrens and stuff like that. I
like the idea of the world being into it and where it leads to the sewers, but why couldn't it just be a dilapidated house? Why did it have to look so goddamn creepy?
It looked fairy tale-ish.
Yeah, fairy tale-ish. Yeah. Which, I mean, normally you kind of say, well, you are watching a fucking fairy tale and stuff like that in regards, but that's not good enough, because what I expected from this was a little more degree of realism, and surprisingly, it avoided a lot of it. Now, the worst moment in this film for me, the worst moment, comes near the end, and it's after Beverly's been captured by it and stuff like that, and he comes out of his lair, like as if he's at the circus, and it's, I took my glasses off and sort of rubbed my eyes, and was just like, for fuck's sake. And for some reason, they open his front of his door, whatever, his building.
Yeah.
It's got this really horrible CGI flaming background, and he pops in front of it, CGI as well.
Yeah, dancing.
And starts dancing, and it's like, and it is so stupid. It's so stupid. What the fuck was that? And he leaps out, and it's like,
yeah, but there's a lot of he leaps up here.
Oh yeah,
out of
that's what he does.
That is his thing, which again, it loses impact so quickly. It happens so often.
Yeah, he does. It's leap, 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 jump, jump, jump. It's that kind of thing. There was a lot of, like I said, said already, there were a lot of jump scares in this. Maybe that's your jam. Maybe you'll think that's scary, but to me, I don't think I jumped once.
No.
Didn't even really come close.
No, there wasn't enough tension.
No, you're right.
Because, we talk about jump scares a lot, and it's not like anti-jump scare, but if you're relying on that, it's not good enough. And if you're going to rely on it, at least build the tension towards it.
No, you're
Make it work. Like, I don't mind the odd sort of, whoa, wasn't expecting that. But there was nothing, you could see them coming so far off, and it wasn't built correctly. It didn't pay off. No,
there was no build. In fact, there are several points where it's just one supposedly scary scene after another. You have Beverly with the over-the-top blood in the bathroom. Over the top. Like, I actually didn't mind the blood itself. It's the hair pulling her into the sink and stuff like that. I didn't like that. But the geezer of blood and stuff, different way of doing what was originally there. I thought it worked. It was fine. The only missed the mark of that is because obviously later on she brings the boys back and they can see it as well and you'll clean it. This is where I'm going to compare it to miniseries. In the miniseries, it made a point of showing Beverly trying to clean it herself, and each time she cleaned it, it came back because she couldn't do it on her own. And when all of them as a group did it, they did it. Didn't have this time. This time the blood just stayed there. She didn't even try to clean it. Time jumps. She brings them round and they all clean it, and that is that. That is that.
Again, that's where you lose some of the bonding of the group.
Yes.
Because in those moments, it's when you realise the power of the group together.
Yes.
That they need each other together, that it is scared of them together.
Yeah.
So you kind of lose that element.
Yeah. What else we got? What haven't we covered upon? Alright, ending. How did the ending go for you? We're talking about the final scenes where he is effectively defeated, the fight, and then follows.
I liked how you said how you think Richie's going to turn on them, how he tries to bargain with them, and it doesn't work, and they turn on him. It is open-ended, as it should be.
Yep.
Yeah, it was okay.
I liked...
It's not as bad as we've seen it end before.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I like the kicking the shit out of him. The only kind of ruined up by having him is basically morph into everything they were scared of. So we got a load of CGI in it again. And some of the things they were scared of were horrible. And that's weird because it's like... So one of the things they morphed into is a CGI woman from a painting that Stan had to deal with, and she looks fucking terrible. It's bad CGI. If you're a defense of the CGI, no one can defend that. I think she looks terrible.
Told you it's a kid from the Aerials video.
Yeah, he said, yeah, it's basically that.
Like
weird, but it doesn't look good. And But when he's sort of leaning back and blubbering and like stuff like that, that's the kind of performance I like. I thought that looked really fucking cool. And his kind of sort of final word and the breaking up of his head almost kind of thing. And then he says fear and then disappears into the bowels of whatever, I guess, to go to sleep, to hibernate, to recover, which is the point. I like that because it's what we talked. One of the things we just talked about before was how we know there's a second part planned. We know there's a second part coming. The opening title says It. The end title says It Part 1. Chapter 1. Sorry, yeah. So we know, we already know that from the book and everything else that's going to be the case. But the movie still felt complete enough that if there wasn't, you wouldn't be unsatisfied. Do you know what I mean?
It could stand alone.
Yeah, you know.
But it's something that you brought up about it that you weren't keen on that I sort of forgive a little bit.
Go on.
Some of the fairy tale nature of it, like the house and stuff like that, and some of the fears, is that you're seeing it through the filter of kids.
Right.
In this, what I'll be interested in is how it looks in the adult part of the film.
See, I'm not buying into that.
I see it a little bit differently.
No, I'm not buying into that. I think it's all.
Yeah.
I do.
But I see a lot of it is through the filter of children, and the way that children do see things differently, and might kind of make a house look spookier than what it is in their imagination.
But I don't think that's what it was. I don't think that.
No, until you see a second part.
No, I'm not buying into that at all.
It might just be a dilapidated house when they're older.
No, I'm not buying into that at all. That does not fit with what we physically saw. It's all going to proper saying that that's what we're supposed to. But what you visually showed me during my 2 hours and 20 odd minutes of watching that movie was this.
Yeah, but you're watching it through their filter.
Yeah, but I am. I'm not watching the filter. It doesn't matter if it's regarded as supposed to be through their eyes. At no point does it state or even imply that is the case. This is what you're showing me. This is what you're offering me. You're saying this is the entertainment that we want you to buy into and enjoy and come back and watch again and tell all your friends and review positively and all that kind of thing. This is what we give you. This is not a book. This is not where you get to create your own imagination and create your own imagery. This is not it. It's in front of you. They created the imagery.
You're able to interpret it however you want, regardless of it being a film or a book.
Okay, so you're saying this was open to interpretation, because I disagree heavily.
What I said was, I do think that you're seeing it through the filter of children's eyes.
I think you're wrong.
Okay.
I think it's visually what's in front of you is what we're getting.
No, it's fair enough.
And I think that's a cop-out.
That's how I see it.
That's
why it probably didn't bother me quite as well. I know what you're saying. It was this proper Tim Burton-esque type house in the middle of a normal town, which it did look a bit ridiculous, but I can kind of forgive it.
So the other thing I want to talk about before we wrap up, I guess, is probably the scarier parts of the movie, if there are any, are actually some of the brief adult performances. Now, there are a few adults actually really getting to do much in this, and you don't really see much of the parents. You have a brief conversation with Bill and his father, which is powerful. Got to say, actually, talking about Bill, the guy that plays Bill, the kid that plays Bill, is fucking bang on.
Yeah.
Like, I really believe, particularly in the final scene with him and Georgie. Don't get me wrong, it did annoy me after, let's make sure we stay together. Oh, there's Georgie again, let me go follow him. Dude, it's not fucking Georgie.
No, it's not Georgie.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, getting off. Not actually getting off, but...
Told you, man. It's kids.
So adult performances. One of the better performances that we see is for Beverly's father. Now, it's implied, but obviously never properly said, that he sexually abuses her. But ain't he fucking slimy? Ain't he slimy?
It makes your skin crawl. It really does.
He only probably gets 4 to 5 lines in the entire movie.
It doesn't say much. It's the way he looks at her.
Yeah.
He touches her, and you're just like, and her reaction to him.
Yeah.
As well makes him horrible.
Yeah, it's that you're still my little girl. It's just like, yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? You know.
But like, it touches upon a lot of the kids' relationships again briefly, but how all these kids are being abused in their own way, in some way.
Oh, some way.
They're all being abused, and I don't know whether it's Derry, the influence of it being this underlying maliciousness in their town that causes these problems, or whether that's why it's there.
Yeah, see, I don't think that came across as well as it should have done. Like, the whole parent, that people just ignoring the problems that are in Derry. because it's not really touched upon enough. There's only one particular scene where you see an old couple drive past, but even that confused me. They drive past as Ben's getting carved up by Henry, and they sort of look and they carry on driving. That's the only scene in any way that. But then a balloon pops up in the back seat. So it was like...
Is that supposed to be its influences over the whole town? So they're just letting it happen? I don't know. Were they it? I don't know.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure about that.
That was a bit of a puzzle one. But other than that, there isn't really anything... Because, for example, we never see or hear about Richie's parents.
No.
You know? We briefly see, Stan's parents in regards to him and his coming up to his bar mitzvah, or whatever they call it. But again, that's so brief. It doesn't really touch on much. It's just basically it's part of a Jewish tradition. So I didn't really see that as a problem. It's like you need to know this, and that's it. And again, Ben's parents. In the miniseries, it touches upon how his mother, single, moves in with an aunt, her sister, and another kid who doesn't like him. And you know, he doesn't feel like he's wanted.
Again, I think because of time limitations, cramming into a single film, you don't get everybody's background. You get like Eddie's overbearing mother.
Yeah, brief.
But they could have gone deeper into that.
True.
Really. You get Bill's parents. You don't really see it completely. You see Bill's dad obviously not being really happy with him, but he gets isolated over time, doesn't he?
Yeah. Do you even see the mother?
No.
Yeah.
No.
See, I mean, don't get me wrong. These aren't complaints because I do think this was focused on the kids and that mattered and that helped. Because I said they're all great performances. All of them are great performances. I have no complaints. No. You know, other than you wasting a certain character like Mike or stuff like that, his performance was still good. It was still good and stuff like that. So no complaints there. But yeah, it really did not delve in deeply enough. But then you say that's going to be a problem. How long can the movie be?
How could they? Yeah.
Yeah, you know. But I do hope when they do part 2, they don't do flashbacks to try and fill in the gaps. I hope they just do exactly what we saw here. Focus on the adult point and don't have them flashing back to his kids.
Their kid's story's done.
Yeah.
That's it. You had it and that's over. Their next chapter has to be the return.
Yeah,
the
and
return
stick
in
to that.
27 years' time, then it has to be that. Flitting back and forward isn't going to work.
Because there were certain things they left so they could use. So obviously in the miniseries and the book, and Stan obviously has a real issue when it comes to coming back. I was kind of wondering when watching this how that was going to... I always wondered in the miniseries, why was he more scared of anyone else and stuff like that? And when it's something to do with the deadlights. Although, yeah, as well, you do get to kind of see the deadlights in this. When this, to do it a little bit better, is he's not just attacked, but at one point he's being eaten by his particular fear, left with quite an interesting injury and stuff like that, I thought, and cool. And I thought, yeah, that's going to come out into play later on. Yeah. That he arguably got in the most terrifying situation of all of them.
Got the most attacked, but yeah, he was slightly the weaker link, I think.
So let's sum it up. Not scary. Not scary. Very jump scares if that's your jam. But great performances.
Entertaining.
Yeah. Entertaining. It's a good movie. I struggle to say it's a good horror movie because while it has violence and gore and all those sort of things that might touch on a horror movie, the total lack of anything that resembling tension and scares really hurts it.
Feels more like a fantasy movie for older children.
Yeah.
That's more how it felt.
Yeah, because I also think if you remove one scene, this might not even be a 15. Oh, obviously because of the swearing, but if you remove one particular horror scene, this might not even be in the UK it's 15. And if you remove this, I reckon it can pass for a 12. Well, it's Georgie's arm ripped off.
Yeah, that's
you
the
actually
only time you actually see anything.
That's really,
That's
so
horrible,
remove the sex jokes, the swearing, or tone that down, because you can get away with that to 12 nowadays. This would probably get a 12 rating. Yeah. Which isn't a horror movie. You know, that's the reality of it. No. But it is a good fucking film. And to me, it does the book justice, the TV miniseries justice, and is a different performance from Bill Skarsgård. That is the guy who plays Pennywise. And like I said, hit and miss performance for me, but sometimes he got it right with the drooling and the hungry look, and a little bit of playfulness. But problem is, a lot of the best parts you've seen in the trailer. Be him standing with the balloons outside the dilapidated house, the flipping of the things.
It would have been really nice in the trailers if they hadn't actually really revealed him.
Yeah.
It would have worked better, I think.
It would, yeah. But that's the nature of it. You can't really get too bitchy about that. So what would be your final score? If you were giving this out of 10?
I'm probably around about a 7 for this.
Yep.
You know, it wasn't excellent. It had some flaws. It was entertaining. But it wasn't scary.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. As I'll be the one writing the written review, it will give me advance notice. It's probably going to get a 7, unless I think of something that lowers that. I originally was thinking 6, but I was like, no.
No, it's better.
It's better than a 6. It's
but not as good as an 8.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not as good as an 8. So it fits in the 7, you know. But would I say see it? I'd say, yeah, I mean, see it, but lower your expectations. Don't go in expecting... Don't go in expecting a brilliant horror movie. Go in expecting an entertaining take on it.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright.